This is Right on the Money with Tom Mosley, founder of Mosley Wealth Management.
Our mission at Mosley Wealth Management is to help people make sure they never run out of income the rest of their life and they pay as little as they're legally required to pay in taxes.
Since 1995, Tom Mosley and his team have been creating comprehensive, custom financial plans to help you preserve what you've earned and pursue what you've envisioned.
In retirement, a lot of people have built a great lump sum. We call that your lumber yard. But you need a blueprint to put that lumber yard into a plan that you can build a retirement house to live in.
What's on your mind this week, Southern California? The stock market, taxes, inflation, income, Social Security, how to ease into the life of your dreams? Let's discover conservative financial strategies starting right now. This is your Right on the Money Radio Hour with Tom Mosley.
And a very happy weekend to you. You are listening to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. He is the CEO and president of Mosley Wealth Management, and I'm your host, Kristin Oakley. Each week, Tom and I are committed to providing you, our listeners here in Southern California, with retirement planning solutions. Tom, my friend, it's great to be with you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Always good to be with you, Kristin.
Thank you. Well, I know you put together another fabulous show for everyone listening today. The reality is you get one shot at retirement, and we want you to only have to go through this one time. And Tom, you have helped hundreds of folks, thousands of people retire. This is what you do day in and day out. You've seen so much, and I know that you're excited to be able to share a lot of the things that I think sometimes folks don't really recognize are things that they're going to be transitioning through as they enter this retirement phase. And so that's what we're going to be starting off our show today, talking about retirement. You might think you're ready for it. Are you really ready for it? And what are some things you need to be paying attention to? So let's talk about that.
Well, the first few months, man, I tell you, I've, of course, coached football. I've coached basketball, baseball, anything that you can coach. I never coached dance, but I watched a lot of it because I had 4 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one thing to practice. It's one thing to go through your entire series of plays in football, to run all of your defenses, run all of your offenses, do your special teams, do that Thursday afternoon if you're playing under the lights on Friday night, to do the Thursday afternoon, run through with just pads and shoulder pads and no, complete equipment. And you think about the game and you put yourself in the game and you've prepared for it for at least 7 days. And the coaches have prepared for it for 21 days, but then boom, the kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like everything happens fast speed when the kickoff is there. And it's the same way a lot of times with retirement. Let's say you've been real diligent and maybe you started saving when you were in your 20s or even before then, and you saved money like crazy, and you instead of going out to eat every night of the week like some of your neighbors, instead of trading your car every single year and a half or so you can make sure and have that new smell, you saved money for retirement. You did it right, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You were prepared, you were ready, but when you walk out that door of your job and you are, you're financially set, even if you have your plan, man, the whole world starts shifting. The whole world just starts spinning, and it's all different. Even if you've got decades of preparation and anticipation, it is still like entering the twilight zone because, it's all new.
Well, and I think, it speaks to the fact that change can be challenging, right? Transitions. And even if it's a good change and a good transition, I don't know anyone who's not really looking forward to retirement, right? Most people are. But to your point, with that comes a lot of change and it's still a lot of new stuff to have to navigate.
Well, it is. And it's an emotional aspect, but it's also tied to a financial aspect.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, when you first retire, you have that adjustment period of the alarm not going off necessarily at 5:30 in the morning or 5:45, and you getting up and showering, maybe working out for just a little bit, maybe having a little devotion, reading, whatever you do in the morning, prep, eating the breakfast, and then you got to be in the car, you got to hit the free. Well, all of that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do that anymore. You just have to get up and do the breakfast, and you're on your own, and you get to choose your schedule. And if you're married, then it's 2 of you that are adjusting to it. And there's an adjustment period if you're married Or if you're not married, but you have a partner or you have somebody you're going through life with, there's an adjustment period to, instead of seeing them a couple of hours every night, and on the weekend, now you're seeing them 24/7, 365 days a year. So there is quite an adjustment period to it.
Mhm.
And in line with that, your expenses are going to juggle. Your people have told me before, you guys have signed up for appointments and come in, but some other people just like you have come in to me and you've sat across the table and you said, we didn't know we were going to be spending this much money, but because on the weekends we used to go to Costco
Mhm.
and we used to go to Michael's and we used to go to Home Depot and do little things. And now instead of Saturday and Sunday, Saturday and Sunday are 7 days a week now. So we
Right.
find ourselves spending a lot more money doing those little things. And it's okay to spend money if you've got a
Mhm.
plan, but it is quite an adjustment for you to enter into retirement. And then really for the first time, particularly if you worked a Monday through Friday job,
Mhm.
think about it. You started going to kindergarten. Well, it's only 3 hours, 4 hours a day. Then you went to first grade, a little bit longer. Then you went to high school, a little bit longer. On college, most classes are still Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and you're off on the weekend. Now it's completely free. It's completely
Mhm.
different. It's like you're on vacation all the time. And guess what? You planned on spending all that time with the grandkids and you planned on spending all that time with your kids because you used to spend time with them when both of you were on vacation. And guess
Mhm.
what? They're not on vacation anymore. They're in school, they're at work. So, all those things, there's a lot of an adjustment period, and your expenses are going to juggle too, in that you might not be. One guy told me one time, he said, "Oh, I won't be spending as much money because I won't be driving to El Segundo every day to work." Well, right, but you might be traveling to Venice, Italy, and so
Mhm.
so the costs are going to shift and they're going to change. So it's just something you need to keep in mind, that things are going to change and it's going to be drastic. It's going to be financial and it's also going to be emotional.
Well, and I think there's no better way to illustrate how those two things come together than to talk about the mindset shift that goes from I've been saving and accumulating to now I need to pay myself because I'm not getting a paycheck anymore. I need to pay myself out of that hard earned money I've saved. That can be a hard transition for a lot of people to make.
You just need to understand that things are different and things are crazy out there as they change when you get into retirement.
Again, it's so much of a transition that happens. And you have a point on here too that I think it's interesting that folks also need to continue saving even though they're now living off of what they've saved. So talk about that.
Well, there's a couple of things in that point. One of the things you need to hear, you need to realize that if you've been a great saver, you're going to have trouble turning around now and being a great enjoyer.
Mm,
Okay. I find that the people who sometimes have just had pretty normal jobs and they've just been really good savers. They
mhm.
are sometimes the toughest people to let them really realize. I have to push them not off the boat, but I have to push them onto the boat. I have to push them onto the plane. I have to push them to get that fifth wheel that they wanted, to get that motorhome that they wanted. And they've got a plan. They know they're never going to run out of income the rest of their life if they work with us. That's the first thing we look at in building a retirement blueprint. But I have to push those good savers. Now, you still need to save. Whatever comes in, you need to just continue to have that mindset. It's not Katie bar the door, let's just spend it all. And
Mhm.
the people, Kristen, who've been really, really good at savings are not going to ever be that way. I'm going to have to push them to, yes, continue saving, but two, go out and spend some of that money, enjoy some of that money.
Mhm. And again, that just takes I know that as a coach, you've coached sports, but this is what you're doing is you're helping coach people, helping them make that transition successfully. And it's really helpful to have someone come alongside and say, look, you've done a good job of saving. You have the money there. Because we've talked on previous shows that if people don't have a plan, usually one of two things happens. either folks then overspend and they're afraid of running out of money, or they underspend. They don't enjoy the fruits of their labor. And it's a balance there for sure.
Well, it is. Here's the balance. Like, take Social Security. When's the best time? Not the maximization of Social Security. That's just wait till you're 70. Anybody can figure that out. If you wait till 70, you live until you're 80, you'll get more money. But when's the optimal time, the best time for you to take Social Security? We'll say, well, I can wait. I can spend down my IRA. Really? Do you really want to spend down your IRA to where you're on a fixed income when you finally go on to Social Security? That's where what I call holding hands with a good advisor is really important. The twilight zone. The twilight zone, I remember I was small enough when it was in the black and white, and Rod Sterling did it way back when, and you see the reviews sometimes on some of the older channels. My mom and dad wouldn't let me watch it late at night because I would get scared. Because there was just too many things about it that were freaky, if you understand what I'm saying. The same way with retirement. If you're not walking through that with an advisor, like we are at Mosley Wealth Management, unabashedly, I'm saying yes, like we do with people. We walk through retirement with you, and we've done that with thousands of people through 29 years, and we hold your hand. We hold your hand, we develop a plan. Once you know you have a plan, we call it a retirement blueprint that's going to address your income for inflation, for your investments. It addresses your tax situation and all the money you're going to pay in tax. It addresses your health care and how you're going to take care of that throughout your entire retirement until you're no longer here. And then after you're no longer here, it addresses your legacy and how you're going to leave it. We call that a retirement blueprint. And if you don't have a retirement blueprint, don't call us and ask us for one, because we have to have you come into the office and you sit down with one of our advisors and we develop one for you. But if you don't have one, you're not going to enjoy your 60s because you're afraid of running out of money when you're 85. And it's all new. It's all the twilight zone. It's all fearful unless you have a real solid plan and somebody to hold your hand through it.
And while this might be new to you, the good news is it's not new to Tom and the team of Mosley Wealth Management. They are here to help and serve you. So we encourage you to pick up the phone and call 888-930-5609 to schedule a time to come in and start receiving your complimentary retirement blueprint. Don't go anywhere. We've got more here at Right on the Money with Tom Mosley right after this.
For your own no-cost retirement blueprint, call Tom Mosley of Mosley Wealth Management. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609.
How do you know if you're retirement ready? That's a question many people ask themselves as they approach their golden years. We believe the answer can be complex and depends on many factors, such as your savings, monthly expenses, and lifestyle goals. At Mosley Wealth Management, we can help you determine if you're retirement ready. We'll work with you to assess your financial situation, identify any potential income gaps, and develop a customized plan that aligns with your goals. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Call us today to learn how we can help you work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Tom Mosley and the team at Mosley Wealth Management for your complimentary retirement blueprint. Call 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609. Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and Tom and I are helping you think about this transition to retirement this weekend. And, I love that you stay on top, Tom, of all the research that's out there, the surveys, what people are saying. And I think one of the things that really sets you and the team of Mosley Wealth Management apart is, yes, of course, you work with a lot of folks who are in retirement, nearing retirement, the baby boomer generation, but you also have a lot of younger clients. You work with a lot of Gen X, and, it always makes me stop and pause, because Gen X is my generation, when I realize that we are entering the retirement red zone. Gen X is now 5 to 10 years outside of retirement. And with that comes some unique things that generation is concerned about. So we thought we would share with all of you a recent survey. This was from Goldman Sachs, and it was the Retirement Survey and Insights Report. And Tom, I know there are certain things you've pulled out that we're going to touch on that are affecting both generations. What are the top of people's minds? What concerns folks are fearful of as they're thinking about entering retirement? So let's start off with the baby boomers. What did this report share about where they're at in relation to feeling about retirement and the concerns that they have.
Well, what's really scary is the youngest baby boomers are turning 60 this year. That
Mm.
means most of them have completely reached, I think it'll be until July 1st, and all of them will have reached 59 and a half. And that means that they're able to get into that zone where they're eligible to take money out of their IRAs, their 401ks. I mean, that's the retirement age. So
Mhm.
baby boomers are there. I mean,
They're in the thick of
we
it.
yeah, we talked about in the first segment about that kickoff of the football game is different than practice. Well, they've been practicing, but at 59 and a half, when they reach that, and all of them will by July 1st, by the date, okay,
Mhm.
all of the baby boomers are already there. And amazing, but here's what's right behind them, a smaller generation. This is the biggest year of all baby boomers, and it's crested, and now it's going to be going down as far as people being born in the United States. You know, it was all the way back to 64, the end of the baby boomers. 65, there starts to be a decrease in the number of births. So the Gen Xers, all of you Gen Xers who are out there who are sick and tired of hearing everything about the baby boomers, focus is beginning to be on you. And in
Mhm.
this retirement survey and insights report by Goldman Sachs, they do it every year. You can Google it and look it up. You've got to give them their email address and you'll get on their mailer. So let me give you some of the really nuts and bolts out of it. And the biggest thing that I saw in reading it is boomers were actually far less fearful of retirement than Gen Xers.
Mhm.
And I think from working with all of you who are out there who are boomers and all of you who are out there who are Gen Xers and all of your compadres, I think the reason is let's go back to pensions.
Mhm.
Pensions are a defined benefit plan that a large portion of America had 50 years ago. 50 years ago or thereabout, 63% of the adults in the United States were covered by a pension. Now, the real stat is 47%, but remember 50 years ago, we had a lot more single income family. The breadwinner, the one who was out there working, had a pension, and that pension covered the spouse who was at home. Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
So actually, 63% of the people 50 years ago had the coverage of that guaranteed income for the rest of their life and for the rest of their spouse's life if they were married. Singles, if you're by yourself, you're single, then it covers you for your entire life. So you go back 50 years ago, 63% of the adults were covered by pensions. Now 16%, one
Mhm.
out of six. And you're going to see in some of the things we talk about later in this segment, that's what's making the Gen Xers fearful, is that idea of guaranteed income for the rest of their life.
Right.
And there's more things to it. They're caught by a lot of things. We call it a financial vortex. And a vortex is like when you're getting hit from all sides. One other word for it is Gen Xers are in the sandwich generation. It means
Mhm.
they're still taking care of their parents and they're also taking care of their kids and their grandkids. Oops, and there comes back a kid.
Right.
And,
The
and here,
boomerang kids, right?
yeah, the boomerang kids. So
Mhm.
so the Gen Xers are more of the generation that's getting hit from all sides. And when you're taking care of your parents, that's a financial issue. I've
Mhm.
had people in my office. A lady came in about 3 months ago now, and she said, Tom, I have nothing for
Mhm.
retirement, and I just turned 50. I said,
Mhm.
I'm so sorry. I said, can I help you? Why? What has led you to not have any money? Because a lot of people have no money because they've spent it all.
Right.
This lady told me, she said, I took off work. I retired 13 years ago at the age of 37 because nobody was there to take care of my parents and we could not
Mhm.
afford it any other way. And I
Mhm.
took care of my mom and dad for 11 years. My dad passed away
Mhm.
2 years ago. My
Mhm.
mom passed away a month ago. And now I'm going back to work and I need to build from scratch, starting at 50, a retirement plan because she had for 13 years taking care of her parents. And she's also got children that she's taking care of. So she's in that vortex. She's getting hit from all sides. Gen Xers, I feel your pain every single week. We have 6 fiduciary advisors, and we meet all over the Southland. We'll give you our office locations later, but we meet with people every single week. And if you're in that vortex situation, whether you're a Gen Xer or a boomer, we feel your pain because it's hurting you not only physically and emotionally, but also financially.
And if you're listening and going, you know what, I could really benefit from receiving my own personalized retirement blueprint. Maybe you need to build a retirement plan from scratch. You can do so completely complimentary. That number to call to get started is 888-930-5609. So Tom, moving on with this survey, talk about some of the key factors. We already touched on the sandwich generation, and Gen X is really feeling it. But obviously, without having pensions, that need for guaranteed income for the rest of our lives. I know that's at the top of a lot of Gen Xers' minds, right?
Well, number one concern for them is when you get to a specific issue, if you're a Gen Xer out there, it's probably Social Security. We're within 9 years now of when they tell us it's going to be cut down to 78 to 79% unless there's some kind of change in Congress. It is the number one issue of concern. Number two is healthcare needs. With the spiraling cost of healthcare, how are we going to take care of ourselves when we get old and we begin to wear out? Okay. And then in the last 3 years, we've had a total from 3 years ago, our 3-year inflation rate right now is 18.4%. And they've tried to get it under control. It looked like for a while they had it under control. The control a lot has to do with a presidential election, and we want to make sure we keep everything calm during a presidential election year, especially a re-election year, but it is 18.4% up over 3 years ago when we started the spiraling inflation. So those are the major things that people are looking for. And a lot of these people are out there, and you're out there and you're on your own. You say, well, boy, how do I keep up with those things? How do I keep up with whatever the next one is? Because that's certainly not an exhaustive list. Well, the nice thing of the survey was that 95% of the people feel like professional financial help is something they need. The problem is only 53% of the people have professional financial help. So, there's 42% of you out there who realize you've got a need, who realize you might be drowning. There's a financial life preserver there to be thrown to you, but you won't reach out for it. So that's really key.
I think it's knowing who to trust and who you can reach out to make sure you're going to get that sound advice, right? And that's why you are so passionate about helping folks understand that you are a fiduciary, that you have that legal obligation to always serve the client's best interests, because we know that not all financial professionals are the same.
All are not the same. Some have a standard that the product they sell you has to be a good product. That's a broker. A fiduciary, if you really boil it down, they have to do what's in your best interest. I liken it to a butcher has to sell you something really good and juicy. And every time I say that on this show, Kristin, my mouth starts running water, okay?
Right.
Because you really want to sink your teeth into that big piece of juicy meat, okay? That at least I do. But a dietitian has the responsibility to help you eat the right things for what will make you and allow you to be more healthy. And that's a really big difference. For instance, like with Gen Xers, their key concern, you better address them. They had 3 key concerns. Number one, generating retirement income. Now go back to what I said at the very beginning of this segment. With only 16% of the people with pensions, whereas in 50 years ago, 63% of adults were covered by pensions. Pensions cover your guaranteed income for the rest of your life. The other concern, Social Security, that it might be diminished. It gives you a guaranteed income for the rest of their life. Number 2 concern, watch how it's related, knowing that what you have will last as long as you do. The third thing is adjusting if it doesn't last. Now, some people throw up at the word, but a fixed indexed annuity will answer all of those questions. It takes the risk of running out of money, and it insures it with a company who's going to back up and say, we're going to pay you. Just like life insurance pays you if you don't live long enough, an annuity will pay you if you outlive your money. Yes, I said that right. You run out of money out there. The only thing that's going to guarantee you money for the rest of your life after you're out of money, try this with your 401k, try this with your IRA. The only thing that will guarantee you money for the rest of your life is a fixed indexed annuity that will continue to pay you as long as you're alive. Might that fit into your plan? I don't know. Call. We'll build with you a retirement blueprint if you come in, sit down, and meet with one of our 6 all-star advisors.
Tom, thank you. And again, the goal is to have a plan in your hands. And if you would like to receive your very own complimentary retirement blueprint, maybe you can relate to some of the concerns that we've already talked about on today's show. The only way to find out what's going to be right for you is to pick up the phone and call 888-930-5609 and be able to schedule a time to come in and meet with one of the all-star advisors from Mosley Wealth Management. Again, this is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation to see how they can help and serve you. More on Right on the Money right after this.
When it comes to taxes and retirement planning, it can feel like you're playing a game without knowing the rules. Tax laws are complex and they're constantly changing, so how can you be sure you're making the right decisions to minimize your tax burden and maximize your retirement savings? At Mosley Wealth Management, we can help you understand the tax implications of your retirement plan and work towards developing a strategy that works for you. Our experienced advisors stay up to date on the latest tax laws and can help you navigate the complexities of the tax code. Call Tom Mosley and the team at Mosley Wealth Management to see how we can help you develop a tax-efficient retirement plan that is tailored to your unique situation. Call Tom Mosley, 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609.
Are you worried about taxes eating into your retirement savings? By engaging in savvy tax planning, you might be able to create greater tax efficiency in your retirement plan. At Mosley Wealth Management, our team of retirement planning specialists can help you explore tax-deferred and tax-free investment options, as well as strategies to help potentially minimize your tax burden in retirement. Call Tom Mosley of Right on the Money and Mosley Wealth Management today to learn more about our tax planning solutions. Call 888-930-5609. Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. He is the founder and president of Mosley Wealth Management based right here in Southern California. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and we are talking today about making sure you are prepared for all things retirement related. And Tom, I know that in addition to the television show and the radio show, you have a lot of live events coming up where folks are going to be able to meet you and the rest of the team of Mosley Wealth Management throughout Southern California. So why don't you share where some of those events are going to be?
Let me give more details. Go to our website. Our website is Mosley Wealth Management, M-O-S-L-E-Y Wealth Management. That's M-O-S-L-E-Y. And when you go to that website, you can find a wealth of material. You can find all of our events and the specific places and the times and the subjects. You can find all of our TV shows are on there that you can watch them if you've missed them. All of our radio shows are on there. We have over 100 podcasts on different subjects. We try to add at least one per week. It's just a wealth of material that's putting financial knowledge out there. And I say on the podcast, if you'll give me 8 to 10 minutes, I'll do my best to increase your financial knowledge. And I do that every single week.
I know you were so passionate about that, you and the entire team. And I'm just so excited for more folks to be able to connect with you through all these different channels and avenues. And I know a lot of times when folks come and meet you at these events, they've been watching the show, they've been listening to us on the radio, and then they finally get to meet you and it just all clicks.
Well, we really do love to meet with people. And let's talk about it. We offer a retirement blueprint for you that we will develop individually for you. There's several key things. We start with a blank piece of paper. In other words, sometimes people call in and they say, send me a retirement blueprint. Well, come in and help us develop your retirement blueprint, because the blueprint of the house you're going to live in financially in retirement is built by the lumberyard of the 401k, the IRAs and the savings and the Social Security and the pensions and all the different things that you have. So we have to sit down and meet with you. Now, we have 6 offices. We have an office in Glendale. We have an office in Arcadia. We have an office in Ontario. We have an office in Anaheim. We have an office in Scripps Ranch. And where's our 6th office? Our office is anywhere you want us to be. Now, this office is not as effective, but we can meet with you by Zoom. Like I said earlier, Kristin, I listened to our program in Blythe, and I know it's available in Bakersfield because we have calls from Bakersfield, Phil, and Santa Barbara and Yuma from time to time. But we can sit down with you and meet with you in the initial stages of developing a blueprint by Zoom with you and help put together a financial plan. It's not nearly as effective as you being and seeing and experiencing the shaking of the hands and just the getting to know you and all of those things. We can do it by Zoom. So we're going to open that office. It's an online office. And if you're an extended way from one of our offices, we can meet with you there. We'd rather meet with you in person, but that's much better than just a phone call for you to set up a Zoom. So when you call in and tell them you'd like to meet with somebody by Zoom. What they will do is they'll plug you onto the schedule of one of our 6 all-star advisors. We'll meet in the office that you prefer, and we'll start from scratch. And we'll go through an envision appointment where we get a vision of where you are and where you want to go. And you can ask us any questions. We'll ask you a ton of questions. The second appointment is an analyze appointment where we come back with an analysis of where you are and is it enough to get you where you want to go. If you say, yes, let's go, we want to hire you, you know exactly what fees you'll pay. And then we set up a strategize appointment where we actually get down to the nitty gritty and we really draw the blueprint. And once the money comes over to where we handle it through Charles Schwab, we're able to designate it for the different parts of your plan. And then the fourth appointment is we have an evaluate with you where we evaluate how things are going. That's the review process every 6 months to a year. So if you look at the first letters of those, it's EASE, envision, analyze, strategize, and evaluate. And that's exactly what we do. That's why we call it Ease into Retirement. And that's what we do at Mosley Wealth Management. More than a nutshell, but in a nutshell.
Well, and if you would like to start your journey to receive your very own complimentary retirement blueprint, it's so easy to do. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call 888-930-5609. And one thing, Tom, I will say, I know folks who have actually personally used your online office. It's still very effective. It's better than no planning, right? So, of course, no substitute for meeting in person, but it is a wonderful option for those of you that might not be able to make it to an in-person office. Well, you know, it's interesting, Tom. We've been talking about, of course, the transition today that folks are experiencing as they near and enter retirement. I think sometimes what can keep people stuck is beating themselves up. And what I mean by that is feeling like, oh gosh, I should have started sooner, or that coulda, woulda, shoulda syndrome, right? We tend to should all over ourselves. I've heard it said.
Right.
And we don't want you to do that because there is hope. It's never too late to get started. I think of that woman you shared earlier in the show today, who at the age of 50 had to start over from scratch because she had lovingly cared for her parents for all those years. Let's provide some hope and talk about what can be done this year in 2024. What is it that folks should be thinking about if they are feeling a little bit like, oh, I might have missed the ball, or maybe I'm not doing everything I should be doing? What can folks do over the next 9 months of this year that can make a significant difference for their retirement?
Well, get over the regret. I mean, you know, I should have started when I was 20. I wish I'd have been in a Roth rather than a regular IRA. There's all, you know, you can't do anything about what happened yesterday, and you're not to tomorrow yet. You know, a lot of people get to the end of the year, Kristin, and they say, well, I wish I'd have done that this year. Well, this is this year. And this year still has 9 months to go. Okay. So here's some things you need to do. If you're at work and you have a 401k plan and you really want to start growing your retirement nest egg, maybe you're 20, maybe you're 30, maybe you're 40, 50, whenever you are, if that 401k plan is available at work, number one, get involved in it, because amazingly, so many people even have a match where the company will match 2, 3, 4, one time 6%. Recently, a person came in, their company would match 6%, and they were not taking advantage of it. So here's the way it works. If you put in 6% and your company matches the first 6% that goes in there, you put in your 6%, they put in another 6%, you have 12% of your salary and you've only put in 6%. So do it, automate it, where they take it out of your paycheck every single time you get a paycheck. And number 3, get a coach. One of the things we do for people, even before we're actually working with them, is we offer what's called a 401k coaching program, where, you look at those things that are listed, those 15, 20, 25, 30 things that are listed for your potential investments. You don't know what to put them in. We're able to go in and do an analysis on each of those investments and tell you the risk that's involved, match it up to your risk, and we can help coach you as to where to go inside that 401k. But you got to get involved in it.
Mm-hmm. And the key is just to start. And I know that once you automate it and set it up, folks don't tend to even miss that money because it comes out before you get your paycheck, and yet it's growing for you.
Well, the key word you just said is key is to start. My dad had several sayings, like every dad that was passed along to me. And my dad used to always say, son, getting started is 50% of the whole issue. Okay. And just getting something started is the key. I always think about that, Kristin, because my dad and I both hated to shave, and we used the old, blade razor and everything. I still do. And I always think, when I first put that blade to my face, I think about my dad every single day, because the biggest thing I hate every day is shaving. It takes me about 7 minutes to completely do it. But as soon as that blade hits my face, I think about my dad, and I'm 50% done with my day, Dad, because this is the hardest thing of the day, and I've started,
Right.
So get started. You also need to fund your IRA. You say, I don't have a 401k. You can put $7,000 into an IRA this year, $8,000 if you're over 50. And by the way, in a 401k, a 403b, or a 457, you can put $23,000 if you're under 50 this year, and you can put $30,500 into that 401k this year if you're over 50. So you need to consider a Roth. There's all kind of things. You might need to consider donating to a charitable organization, because if you've got something that's got a really big tax burden to it, like a highly appreciated stock or a piece of property that if you sell it, it's going to cost you a lot of capital gains, then you could donate that, and you could miss out on having to pay all those capital gains, and the charitable organization could get the full value of that. So there's so many things that are available to you if you're in a woulda, coulda, shoulda. But the biggest thing is, get somebody like us to help guide you through that, to help get you started. We don't have to wait till you have $300,000, $500,000, $700,000. Oh, we like those clients. Don't get me wrong. 1.5 million. I worked with a person this week with 3.8 million. And it's often that I do that. And so you don't have to just be getting started, but if you're just getting started, we're still here to give you some input and advice. Don't make this another woulda, coulda, shoulda year, but make it the year that you got started.
The number one cause of financial failure is procrastination. So don't let that be you. We encourage you. There's never been a better time for you to pick up the phone and call to receive your complimentary retirement blueprint. Again, that number is 888-930-5609. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to be answering some listener questions. And if you have a question for Tom and the team, we'll share with you how you can submit yours as well. Stay with us.
At Mosley Wealth Management, we believe that everyone should have access to a comprehensive financial plan without having to pay a fee for it. We understand that financial planning can be complex and intimidating, which is why we've made it our mission to help people work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Don't let the cost of a written financial plan hold you back from working towards your retirement goals. Call Tom Mosley and the team at Mosley Wealth Management right now. 888-930-5609. That's 888-930-5609.
Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and it's that time of the week where we love to be able to answer some of our listener questions. If you have a question for Tom and the team of Mosley Wealth Management that you would like to have answered, we encourage you to write in. You can submit your question by going to info at mosleywealthmanagement.com. Again, you can send an email to info@mosleywealthmanagement.com. Our first question this week comes from Thomas in Burbank. He said, I have about $335,000 in an 8-year-old fixed indexed annuity you speak about often on the show. The problem I have with it is that it has averaged only 2.85% gain over the first 8 years. I like the principal protection it offers, but is the idea you spoke about a couple weeks ago to consider refinancing my retirement something that could help me with right now? This is such a good question, Thomas.
Thomas, spot on. You put some things together. Exactly what I was talking about in the show that we did on refinancing your retirement. It's not time to refinance your house because rates are high, but if you're loaning money or you're investing money, it's time to check what you're getting for a return. And in a lot of fixed indexed annuities, number one, I do like them. I do like them because you say, well, I don't like them. Well, listen, call it a 𝗶𝗰𝘁𝘁𝗶𝗃, but this is a 𝗶𝗰𝘁𝘁𝗃 that will pay you guaranteed increasing income for as long as you live. If you're married, as long as your spouse lives. Number 5, even after you run out of money. And you pass that risk of running out of money on to the insurance company. That's the reason it's an insurance product. So I do like the guaranteed income. I do like the guaranteed principal. What I don't like is you bought yours 8 years ago. Think about where we were 8 years ago. We were in a low inflation, extremely low interest rate environment. I mean, some people are coming in to the office with interest rates they're paying on their house that they refied 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago at 1.95. And so it was a very low interest rate when you went into that annuity. Well, a new day has dawned, Thomas, and some of the interest rates now are reflecting the fact that we're just now creeping a little bit under 7% back down on housing interest rates. So that also means that banks, that insurance companies are paying more for your money to invest your money. So you look at an annuity as, well, I'm going to guarantee my income for the rest of my life. Well, an insurance company rather, looks at that annuity as we're going to be able to invest this money and make money. And they're making more money right now. Therefore, there's more competition and there's more payouts right now. So a lot of those, you need to reevaluate your fixed indexed annuity. Now, there may be a lot of Thomases and Joes and Sams and Sallys and Susans and everybody else out there, and you're in one of those fixed indexed annuities, and the concern you have is it's just not earning that much. You need to pick up the phone and call us because there likely is a better product out there. And I use the illustration in the show of my daughter's car was a 2002 Honda, and it didn't have a push button start, and it didn't have a backup camera, and it didn't have a remote control of the mirror on the right side over here on my left hand. It was like archaic. That's how much cars have improved in 20 years. So have fixed indexed annuities and other products. So it's a real good time. You say, well, wait a minute. It's a 10-year surrender charge. Right, but that surrender charge may be down to 2 or 3%, and there may be a product out there that gives you a 10% bonus for moving right now. That's how much competition is out there. There may be a product that gives you a doubler if you ever have 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. That's how much the fixed indexed annuity world has improved. Last year, $385 billion of retirement money went into annuities, and $286 billion of that went into fixed indexed annuities. So it's time to refi. It's time to consider. Give us a call, Thomas. We can help you, and all the rest of you out there who feel like you're stuck in something. You need to see that there's better products out there. You just need to make a trade.
And, there's never been a better time, as we talked about on that show a couple weeks ago, about refinancing your retirement. So we encourage you to reach out if that is something that you would like help with, for sure. Well, next up on our question list, we have Austin in Fontana. Austin said, I've been out of work almost a year caring for a sick parent. At 58 years old, I'm taking money out of my retirement funds to stay above water. Is there a way to do this without penalties? And where should I invest going forward to avoid this issue in the future?
Austin, I express two things to you. I, if you were my child, I'd be so proud of you for the fact that you're taking care of a sick parent.
Mhm.
And I express some sympathy to you in that I know it's impacting you negatively. And I would love to be able to give you some advice to help you. Number one, if you're taking, there are ways to take money out of a 401k before 59 and a half. You're 58. There are ways to take money out of a 401k without suffering that 10% penalty. I hope that either you or an advisor who's working with you has shown you the combination as to how to do that. If all of your money is in an IRA, there are no ways to take money out before 59 and a half unless you're terminally ill or things like that yourself. There are no ways to take that out. So if it's in an IRA, you're pretty stuck. But if it's in a 4 plan, a 401k, a 403b, or a 457, there are or should be ways for you to take money out without a penalty. Rather than getting into all the nuts and bolts of that, I'll leave it at that and tell you, please get advice from somebody or call us. We'll help you. We know how to do what you're talking about to save you that penalty. And I'll just be frank and open about this. I'll be praying for you, Austin, by name in Fontana, and praying for your sick parent.
Absolutely. We appreciate you writing in, Austin. And, one of the things I love about his question, Tom, is he's also looking ahead and going, what should I do in the future? And I know that this is what you really love doing for folks, is building that retirement blueprint from the ground up. Even if someone's quote unquote, maybe even starting over, you have had some great success stories of folks that you've really been able to see a lot of growth happen with their investments over a shorter period of time once they get that blueprint done.
Exactly. And for the future, Austin, if you're not working, there's no way to contribute to the 401k. And you're close to 59 and a half. So let's just try to stop the bleeding of the extra penalty of 10% by taking it out before 59 and a half. Then we can work on where we go from here for the future.
Absolutely. Next up, we have Teddy in Tustin. And Teddy wrote in and said, I'm locked into a variable annuity right now. What are my options? This is a good one, Tom.
Well, if I were locked into a variable annuity at all cost, I would get out. The variable annuities are the one thing I dislike highly. Two things I dislike highly, but the very first thing is they're variable. You as the owner of the variable annuity suffer the ups and downs of the market within that. Your principal is not protected. If the market goes down 50% and you're heavily invested in the S&P or the market within that variable annuity, your variable annuity value is going to go down 50%. So let's be very frank. I mean, you are out there, you're exposed. The second thing I dislike about variable annuities is the extremely high fees.
Mhm.
And those fees, we have seen them when we do an analysis. We send it off to a company that has no skin in the game. They just do the analysis. And sometimes those fees come back at 5.25% per year. That's why brokers love to sell them, because and stock people and investment people love to sell them because they're making a ton on the initial fee and the 12B1 fees and the ongoing fees, and it all dribbles back to them. And it dribbles back to them as long as you're in that variable annuity. So if you're to the point, Teddy, where you want to secure something and have your principal protected, you need to talk to us, because there are other options out there. And your option is to try to get out, not necessarily at all cost. It depends on how long. If you feel like you're locked into it, you've probably been into it for some time. So your surrender charge may be almost over or may be over. I've seen some people who brought a variable annuity to us and their surrender charge is over. So they're able to move without a surrender charge, whatever value is left. So talk to somebody who knows and help them get you out of that. Call us. We can help you do that.
And I know that you've done this for a lot of folks. You've been able to sit down with them, look over their variable annuity contracts, help them understand what they're actually getting, what they're not getting, what they're paying, what the fees are. And I think that can be really overwhelming for folks. And so I appreciate that you do that and you're able to go through and say, okay, is this in fact in your best interest, or is there something different that we should do instead?
That's exactly what we do. Hey, to sort of wrap the show up, that's what we do when we build a blueprint. We build that blueprint through a process of meetings. I described them earlier, where an envision meeting where we know where you are, where you're going, where you want to go, an analyze meeting where we bring back the details, the numbers on your portfolio, where it is now, and we show you where we would make tweaks if you work with us. We show you the fees the exact fees in writing that you would be paying. If you say, yes, we want to work with you, then we get into the nitty gritty and put the strategy together. And then we constantly evaluate because life changes. We build a blueprint that addresses your income, for inflation, for your investments, taxes, healthcare, and legacy. To get one, to answer all of your questions, which I'm sure we don't on any one show, you need to sit down with one of our all-star advisors in Glendale, Arcadia, Ontario, in Anaheim, in Scripps Ranch, or online through Zoom. You need to sit down with us so we can see where you are, and together we can start building your retirement blueprint.
Tom, thank you so much. And to our listeners, we appreciate you joining us. Again, that number to call to start your own complimentary retirement blueprint is 888-930-5609. We are standing by, ready and willing to help you. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call. Hey, thanks so much for joining us this weekend. We appreciate you being here. Until next time, be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we look forward to being back with you next week here at Right on the Money with Tom Mosley.
Investment advisory services offered by duly registered individuals through Mosley Wealth Management Incorporated. Mosley Wealth Management and Mosley Insurance and Financial Services are affiliated companies by common ownership license number 𝗶𝗰𝘁𝗄𝗏11. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refers to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength, claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This content is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the needs of an individual situation. All hypothetical examples are provided for illustrative purposes only. They do not represent real-life scenarios. Mosley Insurance and Financial Services, nor its agents or representatives, may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any investment decisions. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. Some of the information provided may be from one or more third parties, which we believe to be reliable sources, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Mosley Insurance and Financial Services.